Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Formula E watch along. My name is Aaron. This is AHGP. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Formula E watch alongs. You can vote in the chat, which is over here somewhere, to let me know who you think is going to win the race. Mitch Evans starts on pole position. We've got Jean-Eric Vergne alongside him on the front row, currently wearing a towel on his head with an umbrella being held over him as well for good measure to protect him from the heat. And that's DS Penske's best qualifying so far this season. I think that was only the second time they've got into the duels. So real improvement from them. Well, at least with Vergne, but Van Dorn is still way down the order. We had a bit of a farcical qualifying, to be honest. I got up early this morning and watched it. Not live, I watched it a couple of hours, well, an hour or so after it had finished being streamed on Channel 4. And we had Jake Hughes be essentially disqualified. He had his best 2 lap times deleted for not respecting the minimum pit stop time, which is a weird rule to have, if I'm honest, because it's an open qualifying session. It's an open track essentially. There shouldn't be a limit on how long you can or cannot be on the track. So unless there's a fundamental safety issue within that, then I don't know. It's not something I've come across before. And then we had this ludicrous situation in the quarterfinals. So Vergne lost his quarterfinal to Sam Bird, but Sam Bird exceeded track limits. And the way the first corner of the qualifying lap was set up, the cars are always going to go onto the over the white line, and if you're on a qualifying lap, you're pushing. So it was hardly a surprise. And there was supposed to be a trigger when it happened, but in terms of the timings, but that didn't happen. There was a problem with that. So they had to do it all sort of post-session. So Sam Bird saw himself thrown out of the quarterfinal, essentially. Had his lap time deleted, which meant Vergne, who wasn't the faster driver in his quarterfinal, went through. Then in the fourth quarterfinal, it was Eduardo Mortara and René Rast, and they both had their laps deleted, which meant neither of them went through. So you had a duel with just one driver, and that driver was Jean-Eric Vergne in the semi-final, and he wasn't the fastest driver. It didn't make sense. Okay, I totally understand keep your car on the track, but the way that the first couple of corners there is set up, you were always going to run into this situation. It could have been resolved. They could have had a look at it. They could have repainted the line overnight. It's not difficult. So, I mean, they've made a rod for their own back of Formula E there, and quite heavily dropped the ball. And they've just put the drivers in a position where, you know, they can fall foul of this, and they've just made the sport look a bit silly, really. And that's a shame because, you know, it was a really good qualifying session, but once we had that big delay and there was all the confusion, it kind of took the fun out of it, to be honest. That being said, the final between Vergne and Evans was super close. They both did, I think it was a 13-2 to get themselves on the front row. So the grid looks like this: Evans and Vergne on the front row, Buemi and Sacha Fenestraz the second row. Good performance from Sacha Fenestraz, but he was actually eliminated in the quarterfinals by Buemi, I think. Yeah, so really bizarre turn of events for him. He was probably the 7th fastest in the quarterfinals and starts the race 4th. Then you got Gunther, Bird, Mortara, Rast, Cassidy and Rowland, the top 10. Jake Dennis and Pascal Wehrlein, the 2 race winners so far, go from 11th and 12th. Jake Hughes, he will go from 21st. Kevin van der Linde didn't set a lap time, well, a representative lap time. He stopped on track in Group 2. Who else should we be looking out for? Van Dorn is 17th in the other DS. Penske. Antonio Felix da Costa is 13th. So you've got a little group there of Porsche cars, of Dennis, Wehrlein and da Costa, which we should really keep an eye on, because in Diriyah, Dennis and Wehrlein came from the middle of the pack to lead the race. Well, in Wehrlein's case, he won both races, and they finished first and second in both of them. And of course, Wehrlein came from 6th to 2nd in Mexico, where Jake Dennis dominated. And it's going to be very interesting to see their progress. Wehrlein, of course, had an accident on Friday, so he might be a little bit short on track time. But it's a 32-lap race. Let's see how things unfold. Now, I am trying a new setup, so I have fixed the issue where the commentary comes through on my screen, and it comes through on the stream. So I've now got the stream up here on like my main screen, and then on my second screen over here is actually where I've got the race action happening. So let's see, have we got live timing yet? We do not. So I won't switch scenes just yet. But if you are new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like and say hello in the comments. So we've got some votes in the poll. Mitch Evans has got a vote. Jean-Eric Verne's got a vote. And we've got a vote for Wehrlein or Dennis to win. So yeah, keep voting, and that will keep that open. Maybe a few laps into the race, perhaps. It's hard to pick a winner for me, because I don't think we can underestimate the power of the Porsche powertrain in race trim. It's just been so good. I think it was Stoffel Van Dorn earlier was saying on the coverage that there's not a lot of saving to be expected, and there's several overtaking spots. So down into turn 3, the hairpin, I think, then turn 4, the left-hander could be an overtaking point. I think there's a chicane towards the end of the lap where there could be an opportunity as well, and maybe a little dive bomb into the final corner, the right-hander, before the finish line. So this could be quite an exciting race. As for a winner, not sure. I mean, I think Evans has got the pace. Jaguar have got a good powertrain. But if overtaking is possible, then you can't really look too far past Wehrlein and Dennis. It's very, very tricky to choose. Got another vote in for Mitch Evans. So Mitch Evans looking like the favourite at the moment. So we've got a couple more minutes until the cars leave the dummy grid. There is Mitch Evans, the Kiwi, on pole position. Just before we start, in the chat, let me know what you thought of the Gen 3 cars so far. Have they lived up to expectations? Do they still look like flying Doritos? Yeah, for me, I think they've done all right. I mean, there was a few concerns ahead of the season of safety and things going wrong. Who do I think wins? Okay, let's finish that one off. Let's put a name. Put my mouth on a name. I'm going to go for Mitch Evans. Going to go for Mitch Evans. His pace in qualifying was really good. His race pace has generally been pretty good as well so far this season. But this is Formula E, and anything can happen in Formula E. We've seen how much drama there can be. Thank you, Cameron, for jumping into the chat. Where are you from, Cameron? And who's your favourite Formula E driver? Who's your favourite Formula One driver as well? Let me know in the chat. It's quite a good track, I think. Quite a good layout. Attack mode is on the outside of a hairpin, so you're going to have to give up a position. Got another vote for Jean-Eric Vergne in the poll, so it's all getting quite close there. Alright, let's switch scenes to the watch-along scene. There we go. Very new to this, just looking for something to bet on right now from the USA. Well, whereabouts in the US of A are you, Cameron? Thanks for joining me. It must be extremely early wherever you are. It's 9:30 in the morning here in the UK, so I'm guessing at best it's what, 3:30 in the morning in America, Colorado. So what's the time there in Colorado? That is 2:30 on Friday night. Saturday morning. Well, thanks for joining me at such an unsociable hour. I really appreciate it. That is so kind of you. Okay, let's get our let's get our live timing sorted. Let's see if we can get this sorted out. We'll get rid of the track because then we can have the timing a bit bigger. I think they're going to have the tyre smoke issue again. The commentators were talking over the message from race control. Let's just get that sorted out. There we go. Hopefully the live timing will stay there. I've got it open, so hopefully it will be okay. The cars are lining up on the grid for a start. Get my cup of tea situated correctly. On board with Mitch Evans. Not Mitch Evans, his teammate Sam Bird. I think that is Mortara with the funky helmet. How many laps is it and where can I watch this? So if you go on to Channel 4 Sport on YouTube, you should be able to find it there, and it's 32 laps. So we're just waiting for the smoke to clear. We've got a green flag. I think the timing is ahead of us because they seem to have moved away on the grid. Here we go then. The red lights, excuse me, the red lights coming on in India, and it's go. No problem, Cameron. Hope you enjoy the race. And here we go. Verne having a look down the outside on Evans, who's holding the inside line. Sasha Fenestraz has got himself up into third place. Buemi looking to take that back though on the exit of turn 3. Verline has lost 2 places off the start. Van Dorn up from 17th to 13th. A cracking start from the DS Penske driver as they come through the middle sector. Verline down to 15th now. Lotterer down to 20th. Jake Hughes making some moves early on. Da Costa's up to 10th from 13th. What a start from the Portuguese. Sam Bird up to P6 as well. Clean start, we like that. So everyone's still in the race. Maximum saving is the request from from Jaguar. Whoa, car completely missing track limits there. Cassidy down the inside. That hairpin is going to be the scene for all the overtakes. And everyone's going to be trying to close the door as hard as possible. Let's see, has the apologies there, stream not over. Trying to refresh the live timing. We'll have to move away from the live timing. Oh no, it's back. There we go. We'll get back into the live timing. Oh, we've got a front wing off. That's Mortara. Will we have a yellow flag or a safety car? Mortara falling down the order. Dennis now up to 11th. Verline still 15th. That was a hefty crunch as well. Right, let's keep an eye out for when the drivers go for attack mode. We'll end the poll, choosing a winner. And Evans and Verne have taken the joint victory on that. Mortara hasn't pitted for a new wing. He's still got it stuck under the car. That is ridiculous. They should have called him in by now. Evans on the replay of the start immediately chopping across Jean-Eric Verne, and the leaves and the dust flying everywhere as they zoom down towards turn 1. That was smart from Evans. Get to the inside, cover off the first braking zone and force Verne to go down the outside, because you can always just hold the apex. Down into the first corner with Dan Ticktum. Is there going to be a bit of bumping and grinding. There is a love tap on the rear of the car in front of him. Might even have been his teammate. Sette Camera. Van der Linde's taken attack mode, and that's almost done. Mortara's still going. The front wing is still stuck under the car. That's ridiculous. Absolutely outrageous. The FIA need to pull that car in, and it needs to be sorted out. This is... a Maserati really should be taking charge of this. This is absolutely disgraceful from them. Mortara is now in the pits. I can see it on the live timing. But that is 2 laps too late. Because if that had shattered and, you know, puncture, we've got a yellow flag. I mean, that's borderline race ban territory for me. Because that is just endangering everyone. Is anyone taking attack mode here? There's Van Dorn going for attack mode. Loses a position to Norman Nato. There's the front wing. That's... oh, just off the race line by the look of it. Surely that can't stay in the middle of the road. It is off... oh, it's not that far off the racing line. Let's... whoa. I'm sorry, that should be a full course yellow. Not a safety car, but just like the Formula E equivalent of a VSC. Mortara, I think, is back in the race. Hopefully they can get that moved. Because the pack is quite close together for the most part at the moment. Mortara is 25 seconds behind Nico Müller. Jake Dennis has now taken attack mode. And he's held on to 11th position. That's interesting. And now he's pulling away from the Nissan of Nato. Cassidy's up to 6th. I missed that one. Still got the yellow flag out at turn 15. Here's Mortara with the replay. This is how the wing detached itself in the end. Look, it's completely under the car, and then, oh, it's worked its way out. That is... I mean, if Lotter does actually hit it, and the 2 apt Coopers have to avoid it, that's outrageous. What is the FIA doing again? Yeah, SHT, thanks very much for being in the chat again. Welcome to the stream. But absolutely, what is the FIA doing? This is sheer incompetence on part of the FIA. As Sebastian Buemi goes down the inside on Johnny McVern, Mitch Evans taking attack mode, and 3 of them have gone through. Evans is desperately trying to fend off Fenestraz, but Sebastian Buemi goes from 3rd to 1st. Wow, what a turnaround that was. Really don't get the FIA these days. No, I mean, they've always been like this. The sort of facade that Charlie Whiting gave the FIA in Formula One is really being exposed nowadays. There's just the guys in charge just don't seem to have authority in terms of decisive decisions. And we saw last year in the Formula One sessions that Eduardo Freitas and who was the other guy? Can't remember his name now. But they were almost too safe, too happy to throw red flags. We saw in Imola a car able to rejoin the track even though they'd thrown a red flag already. But then in Formula E here we've got bits of debris on the track. Dennis now up to 9th, passing Antonio Felix da Costa down the inside. Evans got 30 seconds of attack mode left, but he'll be right on the tail of the two in front. Yeah, Dennis has passed da Costa. Yeah, Roland has passed Nato as well. That's interesting. Although, was it? I think he was already ahead of him. Yeah, Wehrlein did not have a good start, SHT. It was kind of a symptom of his weekend because it all went wrong with that practice FP1 shunt. Then qualifying wasn't very good for him. He found himself 12th on the grid and now he's stuck way back in the pack as Buemi takes attack mode. And does he hang on to second place? He does! So Buemi has now got track position over Mitch Evans and potentially the net lead.
I don't understand this. We talked about it in Saudi Arabia as well. But, why did they choose to give up track position? In that case, it was McLaren, wasn't it? They gave up.
Cassidy as well has taken attack mode. Jaguar have got this wrong so far on their attack mode strategy. Perhaps anticipating that they'd be able to get past down into turn 3 with attack mode. That's not quite worked out. Buemi being very sneaky there. Yeah, he's absolutely jumped on the opportunity. So excellently played by Envision to get their driver into potentially the net lead. But how Jean-Eric Verne now manages things. Is he going to take attack mode? He is. And Buemi takes the lead. What about Evans? Evans has now dropped to 3rd. He's lost position to both cars that were behind him at the start. Wow. Jaguar have absolutely made a mess in the bed on this one. Especially his moves on Verne and Fenestraz just now. Yeah, Buemi using his experience, but Verne's also very experienced. Buemi sets the fastest lap. We're not yet halfway through this race, so there's still a long way to go. Here are the energy figures. Wehrlein has got 68%. As Van der Linde... Fenestraz going down the outside, and that's Gunther taking attack mode. Bird gets through. We've got more debris at the side of the track on the exit of turn 4. Mortara has a lot of energy left because he went through the pit lane. Van der Linde's in the pit lane. Wonder if he's got a problem as well.
they were in the front, it would be a different story again, you know. So all of them starting in the back, it always makes it a bit harder. They're probably pushing in the beginning of the race. They're going to spend more energy to try to get track position. It's really hard to have the reads when the car is in the back.
Verne is right on the tail of Buemi here. This could be a move for the lead incoming. Don't think he's close enough, actually. No, he's had to lift and coast a long way before Buemi. A flick of the rear end from Verne as well. Yeah, Van der Linde's had so many problems. And it's a real shame because he's got a good opportunity to put himself in contention for maybe a permanent race seat. But the car isn't particularly good, and it's just breaking down as well. That's Cassidy in the replay passing René Rast. Oh, it's just the doors opened up and Rast is then they're rubbing wheels, and that was a tidy move from Nick Cassidy. Gunter with a black and white flag. Would he get a yellow flag as well down at turn 3? Oh, that's Bird! And he's hit his teammate! Oh my gosh! Fenestras and Gunther caught up in it as well. The two Jaguars have collided. What a disaster for Jaguar. They've thrown away the lead of the race, and now Sam Bird has wiped them both out. Evans is running against so are Fenestras and Gunther, but Sam Bird's bad day has got worse. He's recovering to the track. Cassidy is now up to 3rd. René Rast 4th. Jake Dennis up to 5th. Wow. That is an incredible development. He was on the brakes down the inside. It was dirty and dusty. Yeah, what are you doing, Sam? It was just Evans is into the pits. Or has he stopped on track? What drama?
I'm in shock. I have no words. Wow.
Incident at turn 3 under investigation. Well, I think we kind of know who's at fault for that. Verne, was he going wide there? We've got bits of debris everywhere. Here we go. Oh, he's just locked up. He's coming way too hot. Oh, wow. The closing speed. He's so much quicker into the corner than anybody else. More bad luck for Fenestras, yeah. Just... dearie me. Evans turns into the corner and wham! Oh. Here is Sam Bird. He's looking down the inside. He's all locked up and he's just slammed into his teammate. He's apologetic on the radio, but that changes nothing. Jake Dennis has now got up into... So Buemi's now taken attack mode. What? Verne's just taken the... Oh! Rast almost runs into Buemi, who was going so slowly into the attack mode. Verne, Cassidy and Dennis now. It's the top 3. Buemi's taken attack mode. Verne's in attack mode as well. That's why he was so much quicker. What on earth is going... What is this race? So let's have a look at the... Let's just take a moment. Verne is leading. He's in attack mode. Cassidy and Dennis have got 2 minutes of attack mode still to take. Cassidy's right on the back of Verne. Cassidy's in with a great chance of winning this race, as is Jake Dennis. Buemi's 4th. Oliver Rowland's up to 5th for Mahindra in their home race. Rast is 6th. Nato 7th. Da Costa 8th. Van Dorn up to 9th. And Sete Camara into the points. Gunther is under investigation for track limits, so he's going to get a penalty for crossing the white line a few too many times. This race has been chaos ever since Bird caused the collision. Yeah, it's absolutely gone mega. Cassidy goes for attack mode and Dennis gets through. And Cassidy's come out ahead of Buemi. So what's becoming clear is if you take attack mode first, you tend to lose track position because it happened to Evans. Now it's happened to Buemi. The only one who's managed to hold track position is Verne. Here's the pass for the lead by Verne. He's clipped a bit of debris. Come on, guys, you've got to clear the debris. Oh, Cassidy as Buemi takes the attack mode. He was so close. Nato has just leapt up to 8th. Cassidy breezes back past Jake Dennis. Hughes into attack mode. He's still down in 14th. Verline's still only 12th. Not making the... not making the progress we thought he might make. Dan Ticktum's into the pit lane as well now. Van Dorn now moving up to 8th. Both Mahindras... oh, is Degrassi... well, Nato's gone into the pit lane. Haven't seen that. Hello to Aries in the chat. Fenestraz and... yep, the face palm face. Now Nato's in the pit lane. Has he? I haven't seen that on the TV feed. Here goes Dennis into attack mode. He's come out behind Buemi. He's in attack mode, so maybe he can get himself back into a podium position. What's the lead gap? It's just over a second as they last cross the line, Cassidy to Verne. Rene Rast up to 5th, ahead of Oliver Rowland. Verline now up to 10th. Still 14 laps of this mayhem to go. SHT, I think your stream is ahead of mine. I'm on board with Jake Dennis. Well, I'm on board with Jake Dennis and with Sebastian Buemi. Here comes the Avalanche Andretti driver looking for a way through. Oh, is there knocking of brakes in contact? How have they avoided disaster there? Roland hasn't scored points yet. Today is the opportunity. He's currently 6th on the road. All he has to do is stay there. He's got a second back to Antonio Felix da Costa. And the Porsche hasn't had the advantage we've seen so far earlier in the year, Sette Camera, I think, oh no, it was Verline just setting the fastest lap. So Verline finally deciding he wants to be a part of this race in terms of actually doing something. 5-second time penalty for Gunther, or Gunter, I should say. Whoa, that was way off the track for... That was Sette Camera sliding through the first corners. Cassidy's got 39% energy. Dennis 39%, bordering 38. Damage to the front of the McLaren of Rast as well. The bit of front wing flailing around. That won't be doing his aero any good at all. Yeah, Vern's in a bit of bother as well in the lead. He might have track position, but Cassidy is 2% better off on energy and right on his tail. So there's damage to the Envision as well. He's lost an end plate somewhere. So Buemi's forming a bit of a train now, which does include Pascal Wehrlein. Is that him going for the attack mode now? It is. He's got 1 minute of attack mode that he's taken in 9th place. Cassidy right on the gearbox. Well, I don't know. Do they have gearboxes in these cars? There's the damage to the front left part of the... We can tell it's going to be very negative, very tense and negative vibes in the Jaguar garage after the race ended. Yeah, I mean, if all that tension will be just diffused, really, if as long as Bird goes in and admits 100% blame, which I'm sure he will. He's admitted as much on the radio. So it's just one of those things. It's a nightmare. You don't want to ever hit your teammate. Oliver Rowland has picked up a 5-second time penalty for track limits as well, which is going to drop him out of the points by the looks of things. Dennis has got a message on his dashboard with an error on it. Error 94 he's reporting. That's not doing him any good. Tictum now with a black and white flag for track limits. Degrassi with the fastest lap in 10th place. Jack Nicholls describing it as wild. It has been wild. Yeah, Roland, seriously, just... I mean, this is the thing I was saying before the start, that the first corner, that blue bit of off-track, it's stupid, because we shouldn't see this many track limits things on a street circuit. I'm talking of street, there's the highway as they go through the hairpin. We have a yellow flag. Turn 4, they're saying. On the timing, it says safety car, and there we go. Oh, that's a McLaren. Jake Hughes has crashed. And that is Hughes' run of points in every race over. So let's have a look at the attack modes remaining. Lotterer has 2 minutes, Fenestra has 2 minutes, Gunter 3 minutes, Mortara 3 minutes. Sam Bird has pulled into the pits and retired as well. Sete Camera is going to see out the rest of his attack mode behind the safety car. So this is highly interesting because Cassidy was closing on Verne. And of course, they're going to add laps to the races now. Haven't seen a replay of what happened to Hughes yet. They'll clear the car away, the McLaren. Let's see if they clear up some of the other debris as well. This race could go any way, exactly. That's what I'm about to put in the poll. We have 8 laps to go. Who wins? Verne? Cassidy? Buemi? Or Dennis? Oh, he's lost. Oh, he's just dropped it. Oh, that's... The mirror got stuck behind the steering wheel. That is very bizarre. If we could get an on-board of that, that would be highly illuminating. Shaking his right hand. Maybe there was a bit of a crunch there. Imagine the chaos happens between these four after the safety car. Yeah. I mean, as we've seen, all it takes is one driver to get a little bit too greedy on the brakes and send it into the hairpin, and it spells disaster. And this is a case of what could have been for Jaguar, because Cassidy and Buemi in the Envision have Jaguar powertrains. And they are second and third at the moment. Energy has, in Cassidy's case, been very, very well consumed. Well, I say consumed, but I mean he's got a lot of energy left. So from that perspective, he's consumed well. Oh, we're about to hear from the Jaguar team principal. Possibly. Nope. Not hearing from him. Okay, the safety car is coming in according to race control on my screen over here. Still not hearing from James Barkley. There's the message on screen. Safety car in this lap. So we'll have 6 laps of racing. And this could go any way. Let me know in the chat who you think is going to come out on top. There is a poll as well. You can vote in that if you wish. Or you can just put a name in the chat. 29% energy for Cassidy. That is absolutely massive. Dennis 28%. What's Verline got? 27. Jake Hughes apparently still in this race. 3% is massive. Well, it's now down to 2%, but we're about to get back underway. Here we go. Green flag.
So, green flag, wave, and Jean-Eric Verne will floor the throttle and get this race back underway. Out of the final corner, across the line, Verne leading.
All right. Will anyone make a move down into turn 3?
And now, in 2021, but now he is leading.
Verne leading the train down to the first braking zone. Green flags waving. Green cars behind him.
Hyderabad E-Prix, and Buemi is looking a bit racy to try and get past.
Oh, there's someone down the inside. What's going on? Oh, no. René Rast has hit Jake Dennis.
Rast into the back of Dennis. Rast into the back of Dennis at the hairpin, and that allowed Oliver Rowland to get through.
What is going on in this race? Dennis has got damage to the rear of his car. Rast is going to be a double failure to finish for McLaren.
Thought that was going to be an ambitious move from Max Gunther on Sasha Fenestras in the fight over 13.
There was a car down the inside, and Rast then clips the rear of the Avalanche Andretti.
So Dennis in fourth, Rowland up to fifth now for Mahindra.
Rowland is 5th with his time penalty still to serve.
The green and Fisher looking racy. Up behind the DS Tsuchika, Rowland's got ahead of Dennis. Rowland's got ahead of
Dennis is going into the pits. He's got damage.
He's got problems. We're going to have a look at the
Look at the damage coming off the back of the Avalanche Andretti. He's in the pit lane and out of this race.
on this crash. Dennis, look at the hit, and that might be a right rear puncture for Dennis. He's into the pits. He's lost the rear wing jack. He's lost the rear bodywork, and there might be some, like you say,
Pascal Wehrlein at one point was losing the lead of this championship. Wow, contact.
now on Jean-Eric Verne.
Here comes Cassidy
Right rear puncture.
down the outside. Verne holds the position on the inside. It's huge for Wehrlein. Yeah, he's now up to 7th. Rowland's up to 4th for Mahindra. Van Dorn is 6th. Da Costa's up to 5th. It's all happening.
No points most likely today for Jake Dennis.
No points for McLaren. No points for Jake Dennis.
As it stands, and that would be enough to give him 6 points, but we've got a long way to go yet, so I'm not going to start.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves with Wehrlein, because it just takes one locked break and he could be one of the unfortunate drivers out of this race as well. Verne doing a great job
Held off Lucas Degrassi for the whole of
holding Cassidy back.
in the perfect position.
As long as he gets a good exit through the finish line. So where they are now, where I'm watching at least, he'll be just fine, because he can just cover the inside line into the hairpin.
Of 32. Absolutely remarkable race here in Hyderabad. It is Cassidy going to be able to get through.
Here we go again, down to turn 3. Verne covering the inside line for the hairpin. Cassidy a little bit out of shape as he pulls alongside.
Cassidy, again he goes to the outside.
He's got to be careful not to let Buemi through.
Can't really get the drive off. He needs to find that inside line. Yeah, in Mission need to play the team game here. They need to say to Buemi, you know, don't attack, and just try and give Cassidy the space. You know, they've got a clear message, right? Tell Cassidy you don't need to defend. Bear in mind, by the way, Roland has that 5-second penalty.
Yeah, Karan Chandok just raising a good point. Buemi can back Rowland up, and it won't matter so much if Rowland gets past, because the Englishman has the 5-second time penalty. But you try telling a racing driver not to go for a victory when if it's there.
Buemi finished 6th. Oh, he didn't get past the line when Rast ran out of energy. Yeah, Hughes ran out of energy. Yeah. I think at least one of us is
Verne's still hanging on to the lead.
warning. Black and white flag. No, black flag.
Black flag for Verne.
Might be a spelling. That might be a bit of a typo.
Well, it says over here, correction, black and white flag for Jev. So Verne has actually got to be absolutely perfect. We've got debris. They're driving over the... Come on, they've got to clear the debris. They had a chance to do that. That's Lotterer going for attack mode. Here's a black and white flag for Verne for his track limits. Cassidy 17%. Dennis is still in this race somehow. 20% energy, but miles off the back. Buemi is starting to fall back a little bit from Cassidy.
Vern leading, Cassidy right behind him. Oliver Rowland there running in fourth place, but he does have
This race could end in a crazy way. It really could.
stands.
Race extended by 1 lap.
14th place because everybody's
Dennis under investigation for track limits. He's probably minus a rear wing, to be honest. So,
laps in a few moments' time. Well, we'll find out whether
questionable whether he should be
as Vern comes across
on the track.
towards turn 3, and it's 1 added lap. So because of the safety car period earlier on, we
I love that shot of them racing down along the coastline.
fights on with Rowland. He's right behind Sebastian.
Rowland now pulling to the outside of Buemi. You're not going to get through there without contact. Buemi squeezing the Mahindra. There was more contact. And there goes Van Dorn.
Verline up in a 6th place.
And Verline.
Dropping down.
Da Costa is dropping back.
So has Da Costa run into a bit of problems.
What's happened to Da Costa?
Now on the back of Stoffel Van Dorn, by the way.
Verline.
It is Da Costa who got him into 4th spot. Okay, I thought I was a bit confused.
Yeah, Da Costa seemed to go through there. So Da Costa's up to 4th.
To 4th, ahead of Rowland.
Van Dorn is still 6th. Where's Rowland? What's he doing?
But Cassidy is right behind Jean-Eric Verne for the lead.
And now we're going to get a replay.
Rowland, I mean, this was ambitious. You gotta give him credit. Try. You gotta try. But I think we're
On the outside. Oh, proper squeeze there from Buemi. Out of shape. There goes Da Costa.
give up the room more than he needs to legally, is he? And that move is a Rowland special. Oh, Cassidy right on the back of Verne. Was he trying the overtake? So why was he looking there?
Cassidy was having a look into the final corner there. He was well offline.
Into turns 1 and 2. We on to across the line.
Yeah, Verne exceeds track limits again. He blows his victory completely, and it would give the Envisions a 1-2. Absolutely. He's got to be squeaky clean. He gets it stopped on the brakes. There's a little bit of nose damage as well for the Envision of Cassidy. Jake Dennis has now got a 5-second time penalty for track limits. Not that it matters because he's last of the cars still running.
Right, here we go. So, Da Costa's come. Oh, look at Cassidy. Cassidy's got so much energy. So, we're on
Cassidy's still massively
33 lap race.
over energy in terms of everybody else. Verline with 9%. Nato has 9%.
Going to turn 14. The nerves for the Envision crew.
Cassidy's got to make the move now. Here he comes down the outside.
Jean-Eric Verne coming into the pit lane chicane.
Nothing doing though. Into the chicane at the final corner.
Cassidy ended up looking to the inside. Well, got 4% more. I don't know what Jeff's doing here because Jeff's going to lose like 5 places in the last lap of this race. So 2 laps to go as they come across the
Is Verne pulling a masterclass or is he a sitting duck?
Verne will cover the inside as they come down into the hairpin.
He's got 4% to do 2 laps. This race is like Baku. Yeah, this is great. I'm loving this. You've got this hairpin which offers an opportunity but is also just a disaster waiting to happen for anyone and everyone. Cassidy 4% more than Verne. He's now at 8%. If Verne pulls this off, it's an absolute masterclass. It's probably got to be one of his best victories. Van Dorn and De Grassi have now got time penalties. So that's another position for Verline because Van Dorn has exceeded track limits. So Verline, it's all falling into place for him. Even when he's having a rotten weekend. Into the added lap. Cassidy's got to do it now. It's now or never for Nick Cassidy. He's just got to send it, whether it's inside or outside, he's just got to go for it. It's a little bit squirrely under braking. 1% energy for Verne, but he's holding off. There's cars dropping down. Cassidy's got huge amounts of energy. He hasn't gone for this enough. Cassidy has missed the chance to win this race. Here comes Jean-Eric Verne. What a brilliant way to win the race. Bang on 0%. Cassidy finishes the race with 3% energy. Somehow, Verne has won this race. The timing screen is going nuts with drivers dropping down with penalties. Jean-Eric Verne brilliantly wins the Hyderabad E-Prix. It's a double podium for Envision. Antonio Felix da Costa and Pascal Wehrlein are 4th and 5th. Penske, having been nowhere in the opening rounds, have won this race. Well, DS Penske have. That was a lot of fun. Da Costa and Wehrlein starting 13th and 12th. They finished 4th and 5th. I mean, there's something going on with that Porsche powertrain, and those two drivers managing their way through. Sete Camara 6th. But yeah, that is huge for Neo. As you say, SHT. So let's have a look at the final standings. Jean-Eric Verne wins the E-Prix from Nick Cassidy by just 0.4 of a second. Somehow clinging on with a huge energy deficit. Roland still gets 7th. That's because everyone else behind him also got a load of penalties as well. So that was his only saving grace. Porsche get 4th and 5th, like you say, SHT, from 12th and 13th on the grid. Sete Camara with a massive result for Neo. I mean, they've had some pace in the opening rounds with Dan Tickton, but it's Sete Camara who brings home the big result. Oliver Rowland, 7th place. Norman Nato for Nissan takes 8th. Van Dorn holds on to 9th despite his penalty. Lotterer 10th. A single point for Avalanche Andretti. When it could have been so much more, Jake Dennis was in position to at least maybe get a podium. And he probably would have then taken the lead of the championship. Buemi is under investigation for overpower. Well, it could be another position for Wehrlein. And that would put Da Costa on the podium. So outside the points we have Mortara, who ran some of this race without a front wing and still finishes 11th. Muller 12th, Fenestraz 13th. He was unfortunate to be caught up in the Jaguar incident through no fault of his own. Max Gunther as well, an innocent victim in that. Lucas de Grassi relegated with a time penalty. Jake Dennis collected by Rene Rast, no fault of his own as well. Rene Rast out of the race. Okay, so these are the failures to finish. Rast, Hughes, Bird, Ticktum, Evans and Van der Linde. And of course, the big talking point really is how Sam Bird blew this race wide open with that one misjudged braking attempt of an overtake on, who was it? It was on Fenestraz. And he took out his teammate Mitch Evans. And let's go to this screen. That was a thrilling race. I mean, what would you give this out of 10 for an E-Prix? No points for Dennis. Wehrlein has extended the championship lead to, would be, I think it was 6 points the lead before, 68 to 62. So it would now be, 18? Possibly 20 if he gets another 2 points for the 4th place, should Buemi go and get a penalty, which when they overpower, that's usually fairly slam dunk. Very happy Jean-Eric Verne there. Rate this race out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 from SHT. I'd give it a 9. Just there was all sorts happening, absolutely all sorts happening. We had collisions. We didn't have quite as much overtaking as I thought we might into the hairpin. Which, if we'd had that amount of overtaking, especially with the attack mode, or even just in normal race trim, then it's almost a 10 out of 10 race because you've got almost everything you could possibly want. You've got carnage, you've got drivers making errors, you've got teammates colliding. You've got a winner in Jean-Eric Vergne who has managed this race superbly, despite the car behind him having 3-4% more energy, which should be almost a slam dunk. We have to thank Sam Bird for starting up this drama. I'm not sure he'll thank us for saying that, but yeah, thanks Sam Bird. You set this race on fire. Although I wouldn't want to be in his shoes in the Jaguar debrief later on today. But that was the Hyderabad E-Prix. An excellent debut for the circuit. Really enjoyed it, actually. Really enjoyed it. As a circuit, as an event. The track limit situation needs to be cleared up for the next time they come here. Because I think having almost half the finishers have 5-second time penalties is a little bit silly. Fenestraz will be so furious that he didn't get in the points after all the dramas. Yeah, but like I said, he was just an innocent victim in what happened. Did he get a time penalty? I don't think he did. But yeah, there was enough of a gap for him to stay out of the points. Shame for him because he was driving really well. Didn't really put a foot wrong, just got caught up in wrong place, wrong time. But like I was saying, the track limits situation needs to be looked at and adjusted because it's not like there's nothing they can do there. They really can. They could just turn that into a flat-out right-hander rather than a little chicane. So, or you can, if you're going to make it a chicane, make it a proper stop chicane. So they have to get traction out of there down towards the hairpin. That would be a little bit more interesting, I think. You either go flat out or you have a proper traction zone. What they had there was just a bit of a nuisance, to be honest. But yeah, thank you to everyone who has joined in the chat. Cameron, I hope you enjoyed the race. I hope you found the stream to watch it. Thanks to SHT and to Aries for sending in messages as well. And yeah, that was the Hyderabad E-Prix watch along here on AHGP. You can find more videos from me on the channel. We're live streaming F1 Manager with Williams, making sure we have a rookie in the car at all times. I've got some short videos coming out next week, and I've got some more videos as well. Not shorts, but short videos, if that makes sense, not shorts. Drive-through penalty, 17-second penalty for Buemi. So he does drop off the podium. Where would that drop him down to? Let's have a look. So Buemi drops to 15th. Nightmare. So Da Costa's on the podium. Verline 4th. Seti Camera now 5th. Roland 6th. Nato 7th. Mortara. Edo Mortara, who drove for like 2 or 3 laps without a front wing, finishes 10th because of penalties and all sorts of other stuff. Absolutely wild. Even after the flag, this race just keeps on giving. Love that. So yeah, got a few more videos about drivers under pressure coming out next week, and yeah, lots to look forward to. We're not far away from the start of the Formula One season. The Formula E Championship is well underway and is giving in the only way Formula E can. Thanks for joining me on this watch along. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. If you're Cameron and you are, it's now what, 3:30 in the morning, maybe go and get some sleep and enjoy your Saturday. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. If you enjoyed the stream, subscribe, leave a nice big thumbs up, like the stream, ring the bell for notifications when I go live, follow my Twitter, follow my Instagram, and I will see you again very soon for possibly the next watch along, but definitely for some F1 Manager in the coming days. So that's all for now. It'll be goodbye from me. Thanks for watching.